In a small town called Twilight Forest, where eternal darkness enveloped the houses like a heavy blanket, lived a young man named Alex. He had always been introverted, preferring to spend his time alone, exploring old buildings and abandoned places. The locals whispered about an old mansion on the outskirts of the town, which once belonged to a family of witches. They said that something dreadful was hidden in the basement of the mansion, and no one returned the same after entering. One day, despite the warnings, Alex decided to investigate the mysterious mansion. At night, armed only with a flashlight and his courage, he made his way to his ghostly, sorrowful destination. The door to the mansion was boarded up, but Alex forced it open and stepped inside, finding himself in a gloomy corridor draped in cobwebs and darkness. Everything around him was permeated with the smells of decay and mildew. Every step seemed to take him back into the deep past when this house was full of life and laughter. The darkness felt alive, and Alex sensed something stirring in the shadows. He descended into the basement where absolute darkness reigned. On the walls, strange symbols glowed ominously. In the center of the room stood an ancient stone circle, covered in dust and remnants of candles, along with odd scraps of cloth. Alex, intrigued, approached the circle, unknowingly stepping into an area better left undisturbed. His heart raced, as if the very house sensed that its time had come. As soon as he crossed the boundary of the ritual circle, something terrifying happened. Moments later, darkness engulfed him, and a sickening laughter erupted behind him. Alex fell to his knees, blinded by flames that suddenly ignited around him. He could feel a strange sensation crawling into his head. It was not just suffering, it was a presence. It enveloped him, sucking him in, and in the moment he screamed, the sound was swallowed. He entered a new world, a world where demons played with the fates of humans. Alex felt his body changing, as something rose from the depths of his being. Inside him lived a demon, craving freedom. He sensed his thoughts becoming foreign, and his emotions multiplied in intensity. From the moment he crossed the boundary of the ritual circle, his life would never be the same. At first, Alex resisted, but soon he eagerly began to seize every opportunity to showcase his new power. He sought revenge on those who had ever wronged him, turning the fears of his enemies into reality. Their screams became music to him, and their terror fuel. But with every action taken, time was needed for the demon to calm, and each time it returned, Alex felt as if something important was slipping away. Meanwhile, strange events began to occur in the town. Several locals vanished without a trace. It was said that shadows consumed them, and dark omens appeared on the horizon. Every evening, amidst the unclear shadows of the night, someone heard laughter echoing from the deep corners of Twilight Forest. One night, after a sleepless evening, Alex woke up feeling terrible. He never understood what exactly happened that night, but a few days later he went out into the street and discovered that the local bartender, who had bitterly complained about his character, had disappeared. Alex recalled how, that very evening, the demon demanded a sacrifice. The daylight became invisible to him, as if his fall to earth detached him from humanity. He began to ponder whether he could combat the darkness swirling within him and reclaim his human essence. Despite all the suffering and losses, he continued to heed the voice of the demon within him, which whispered, "You can create a world where no one hurts you. A world where you reign." At that moment, he did not realize how deeply his ghosts overshadowed his reason. In one of his forays into the darkness, Alex decided to return to the mansion. He felt the evil controlling him and sought a way to end this unbearable struggle. Entering the dim basement again, he returned to the circle. Perhaps this was the only way to regain control over his life. Filling the circle with sacred symbols and drawing it on the floor, he resolved to conduct a ritual to expel the demon while he still had the power to do so. But as he spoke the incantations, something went terribly awry. The demon, sensing the tension, erupted in rage and began to manifest in his consciousness. "You cannot rid yourself of me, I am part of you," it roared. And at that moment, Alex felt a frenzy of power engulfing him. He needed to make a choice: life or death, humanity or darkness. Alex's mind fought, but the demon's voice rang as familiar as his own. In that moment, he remembered all the suffering inflicted on others and everyone who had ever dared to wrong him. This was his chance for redemption. Though darkness tempted him, he gathered the last remnants of his being and screamed, "I choose life." This was not merely a shout, it was a declaration of power. In that instant, the demon began to die, and its screams echoed through the entire house. Light pierced the darkness, as if nature itself responded to the struggle, a bolt of lightning illuminating the mansion. Alex felt the shadows engulf him, the demon's fury resonating in every cell of his body. But he fought on, and finally the darkness was defeated. The demon screeched, then vanished, leaving only a cold breath behind. Alex remained alone, exhausted and lost, but alive. He stood up, realizing he was no longer the person who had once used his power for harm, but someone who had endured an incredible trial. He stepped out of the mansion into the fresh air. The night had not yet ended, but the weight and stifling darkness that had pursued him were left behind. Suddenly, he understood that he could use his past to help others. And though his life would never be the same, he gathered the strength to become a protector of those who could not face the darkness. And so, against the backdrop of the setting sun, he set off, ready to atone for his sins, knowing that his story was just beginning.